Hello everybody. So I will be doing lesson 27 with my peer Yasmin. Yasmin, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Papa, I can hear you clearly.
Alright, so I'll be doing from listing 27.1 to listing 27.4. So lesson 27, accessing our API from our application. So in this lesson, we change the way we access JSON formatted data by adding an API namespace. And then modify our AJAX function to allow users to join courses directly from a model. Last, we create the action to link users and courses through a new route. So we're going to create an API namespace. We want to build a UI model to fetch data asynchronously and connecting models with MongoDB methods. Applying an API namespace. So we discussed namespacing in lesson 26. Now we're going to implement the namespace for API endpoints that return JSON data or perform actions asynchronously. So to get started, we create a new root module called API routes.js in our routes folder. Then this module will contain all of the API routes with JSON response bodies. So we have our first route and we point it to our courses control.js. So we're going to add the listing and the code in listing 27.1 to API route.js. So this code defines an express router that handles requests related to courses and responds in a JSON format. So we have our const router is equals to require express.router, which will create a new express router object to define routes separately from the main app. Then we have our courses controller is equals to require slash controller slash courses controller, which will import the courses controller, which contains the logic for handling course related actions like fetching the data, rendering views, and etc. And then we have our router.get, which will define a route for get slash courses. And then when this route is called, courses controller.index runs first. It usually retrieves a list of courses and stores them in the res.locals.courses. And then courses controller.response.json runs, and then it sends those courses as a JSON response to the client. And then we have our router.use courses controller.error.json, which will add a middleware to handle errors in JSON format if something goes wrong during the request. And then we have our module.export is equals to router, which will export the router so it can be used in the main app. And so what it does, it sets up a router for slash courses that fetches course data, retains it as a JSON, and it handles any JSON related errors. So we have our listing 27.2, adding JSON responses for courses in courses controller.js. Let's go to our controllers. Okay, so this code defines two middleware functions, one for sending successful JSON responses and another for handling JSON errors. So the response JSON will send a JSON response containing the status, which is the HTTP status code, the data which was stored, and then there is locals by previous middleware. So it is used when a request is successful. And then error JSON will handle the errors that occur during requests. If an error exists, it sends a JSON object with status 500 internal server error with the message, the specific error message. So if no error object is passed, it still responds with the generic unknown error message. Now, it's only used when something goes wrong to ensure clients receive a consistent JSON error response. So the response JSON returns successful data in JSON format, and then while error JSON returns structured JSON error messages when request fails. So with this new API namespace root and controller action in place, change the Ajax get request in recipe app.js to call API courses instead of courses format JSON, and then remove the conditional block, checking for the format pre-requirement of courses in this relations. Okay, so we have our listing 27.3, modifying AJAX call in recipe app.js. So this jQuery code fetches it fetches and displays course data from the server. So it will send a GET request to /API/courses to retrieve course data in JSON format. It checks if a returned data exists and includes a courses list. If not, it stops. Then if valid, it loops through each course and dynamically adds HTML elements, which is the title and description in the model's body. So in short, it gets course data from the server and displays each course's title and description inside a model window. So in the next section, we add more functionality to the model to allow users to join courses. So I am going to end here. I hope everything was clear on your side, Yasmin.
Yes, it was clear. Thank you, Martha.
Not a